The next concept that we're going to work on are called axis lines. And really all that is the division of the two main parts of the torso as well, what we're going to use them for. And what those are, as described in the lecture, would be the clavicles, both front and back, and the ASIS, or anterior superior iliac spine, in the front, or the posterior superior iliac spine in the back. So you will have seen that described in the lecture, but what this is for is the demonstration of how that might be applied as a video demo reference. And I'm going to use the same two figures that we used before, same process that I used before. So here's the rhythm lines. This figure is holding a jar, but we are not going to really deal with that. I just like the classic contrapposto pose that this figure particularly has in this image. So you can see, excuse me, you can see the flow, the lines, and I'm constantly refining. And I'm drawing, again, a little darker than I should, but I want you to be able to see this on the video. Okay, so in this figure, the hair is covering up some of the clavicle, but I can see where it is and the axis line. The main thing is the angle that I'm after. So that's my axis line on the clavicle. Same thing with the ASIS. Come down, find it, see what that angle is, and use that as a reference in my drawing. Now, again, I'm drawing far too dark. And eventually, you probably won't even draw these. You're just going to see them and notice them. They're going to help you as you move along. But for this exercise, it's really important that you go through the process of actually executing this so that with practice, it will become natural. So you've got an axis line for the clavicles, axis line for the ASIS. Okay, moving on to our second figure, the male figure. I'm going to use the same approach for the original gesture. Find those major rhythms that I want. And you are considering proportions, but we're not getting hung up on it in the gesture. You know, we will have lots of opportunity to refine and correct as we move along. And the arm, just simply, okay, so our axis line for this male figure, now this one's a little different because it's a kind of a 3/4 pose, but it's the same concept. And I'm saying just the slightest angle right here. Now what the idea, and in the lecture they explained to you, I'm sure, what this does is give you a reference point for the form in space. That's the axis line here. And I'll mark the axis line here for the hips.